I do believe you had a voice.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I also don't believe you had a voice, in the sense that many people in the industry who've had a voice were made to disappear. So I don't in any way look at you and think, you should have said something, because we know what happened to the people who said something.
Yeah.
I don't know what your thoughts are on that. So I think you had a platform, but I don't think you really had a voice.
Remember, social media wasn't really big then.
Yes.
You understand? I mean, when we left Generation, social media was there. I mean, I looked at when I started getting interested in Instagram, because I used to find girls posting and looking fabulous, and I think, but I have more shoes than this girl could have in her lifetime. Why would I post them? I mean, I'm not interested. It's boring.
You don't need to prove.
To me, it didn't make sense. But now I think it's kind of cute.
Yes.
But then I had better things to do with my time then. You know, and when you look at what social media would, if you had access, if we had the same access to social media then, and the voice and the brand value that you carry to speak out, I still feel that people can speak out, should speak out. I speak out for myself now. I don't speak out on other issues, because you have to be sure of what you're speaking about.
Yes.
But when we left Generations, I was in the forefront. I was said to be the ringleader of the pact.
Were you the ringleader?
No, come on. Rome was not built by one person.
So you were the one who went in the WhatsApp group. You were admin, group
Yeah.
admin.
Kena na bampusha ba re tsa mo bua le ntate mfuni. Wena wa go rata. Wena o tla bua le wena, he'll listen to you. And for me, it wasn't even about that. It was like, I have respected this man for so many years, and I think speaking to him, I don't mind if you send me to speak to him, because even if he says to me, I'm disappointed in you, I'm here for it. I think when you need to stand your ground. When you make a decision, you need to be in a position to stand your ground and say, I am standing my ground. This is what I believe. Yes, I've disappointed you. You saw me as a person who would never, ever disappoint you. You gave me one of the greatest opportunities, but
for
here
years.
I am leaving you, in this way. So for me, I was confident. I was not budging. I was confident, and I was like, I'm here for it, and I stand my ground. And till today, I stand my ground. I'm like, what's wrong is wrong, what's right is right.
702.
The upside of failure.
Sometimes failure is the foundation of greatest success stories.
10 minutes after 2 o'clock, the upside of failure. I fall more and more in love with this feature as we do it. And I have to say, like a pat on the back to my team and I, because, hi man, the quality of people, Sophie Ndaba's in the building. How are you?
I'm fabulous. How are you?
Listen,
Yes,
I just feel like there's this thing I love to do whenever I have guests in studio. I try to remember where we first met and where we saw each other last.
Yes.
I can't remember where we met, but I will tell you a conversation that stood out to me. We were in the makeup room at Generations.
Wow.
And
That's yours.
I can't even remember how many years. It must have been around 2006-07.
Wow.
And what I remember was you saying to me specifically that your business is your main thing that you do, and being on TV is your billboard. And that stuck with me for years. Like for years, where I said, if a woman I look up to, like, Sophie, is treating this, and at the time you were doing a lot of events and wedding planning, and I used to think, oh my gosh, look at these amazing black women like yourself, Abasi Kumalo, who, yes, they started in front of the camera, but it was all about the business.
Yeah.
And I thought, I can never just be talent, ever.
Ever.
And I have never forgotten those words. I remember that conversation. It was even before your wig was put on.
Dimropos. It's like, yeah, it's with the business.
That's what you said. I will never forget. You said, no, darling, this is... And then you even went as far as to say that playing the character of Queen, while it seems in inverted commas gimmicky, like even my family would be like, how about so promoted to Obe CEO, character as CEO?
Upgrade.
You are about upgrade. You know, domestic work, about degrade. But you were like, irrespective of that, you take your business seriously, and you were showing me your brand on your phone and showing me the Sofla designs.
Wow.
And then you were even showing me how you want to expand the business.
Wow.
And from back then, you were telling me, I don't know if you remember this, but you straight up said to me, I am going to be skinny one day. You said it to me Yes.
Yes.
You said at the time you were doing 5 a day.
Yeah, for 5 a day for wellness, for health. Yeah, for
yes.
good health. Yeah.
But you straight up told me, and look at you today.
Yeah, by default. By default.
By default,
Yeah.
but I never forget that, and I think it's so. It's just reminding me how powerful conversations can be. Where you was this OG that I was looking up to. I mean, I think Oskoni was in another chair doing her face.
Yeah.
And, I came in for a character doing K2's Badger's business.
So you're a cameo.
And at the time, I just remembered looking up to you so much and thinking, like, I held on to those words. And it's only now at this age that I'm like, the words you use around people that are younger than you are so powerful.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
When you were having such conversations, did you understand the impact that your words had, or was that just you being you?
It was just me being me. But I also, at the back of my mind, knew that it's very, very important that when you have kind of made it, or you call yourself I've made it, or I'm here, you have to pass on the baton. You have to pass on the baton in a different way. I mean, passing on the baton, you must be doing exactly the same thing. No, it's about the inspiration. It's about the vision to say, let's work hard. If the narrative is let's work hard, the narrative is let's not keep 2 eggs in a basket, but rather 5 eggs in a basket, because when the other eggs rot, you can pick up on the others. So that was my motto. I was like, no, you can't keep your eggs in one basket. You have to make sure Uguti, you spread the baskets themselves.
You I look at how tabloids and the media has evolved over the years, right? And there was a time where in drum every week.
Not even
In
drum.
drum.
Magazine, Lord.
There were so many, right?
There was one I hated, but in drum was better.
But I remember there was a period where everything was quite tabloidy.
Yeah.
And
Boshwashwi.
Yes,
Yeah.
the Shwashwi era,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And I'm wondering how have you adjusted? Because I look back at some of the times where the earlier part of my career where I was quite ashy and ratchet. Thank goodness people have phones. There are things that I'm glad there was no social
There
media.
was no,
Right?
Yeah.
Do you feel like you've had to change how you approach the things that you do because of how times have changed? And much as I do look back at the tabloidy era as it was crass, there was still something about it that gave you, what's the word I'm looking for? You were PR gold. Brands still wanted to attach themselves to you.
I remember,
because you were in the papers every week.
Absolutely. I mean, I remember the editor of Daily Sun saying, Wana, I've just written a headline ka wena ne? And I said, you've just written a headline kan armas wena wa rekisa man. So how about a favor or something? Ari, when you want a favor or something, just come to me. I'll write any headline you want. But in the meantime, just relax. I get, we kind of knew how to sue them, but we didn't really. You just complain to yourself, to your friends, and say these are evil people, and the whole country would say they're evil. She wouldn't do that. And, he wrote the headline. It was the highest selling paper that weekend because they were constantly in competition. So people didn't understand in the industry, Uguti, you needed to make relationships with journalists so that when they write about you, it's not a surprise. You're expecting it. They can even tweak it for you, and
I didn't even know that.
Oh yeah, they tweak it. Relationships anywhere in the world is about who you know. And I think even the ones that I knew wrote the worst about me. That's the interesting part. But I always got what I wanted out of them eventually. But, it wasn't that bad. They would say she was wearing an ugly dress or she was with this guy or that guy or whatever. They'd never really attack my business or who I am, and that's why I was comfortable
Or your
with
acting
it.
abilities.
On my acting ability. No.
Yes.
Don't say the queen of soap has done 1, 2, 3.
What was the worst headline you ever read about yourself? Like, by worst, I don't necessarily mean worst according to public opinion.
Yeah.
Worst according to the impact it had on your life, on your family.
Oh gosh. I think it was during, obviously, just after COVID when I was very, very ill still, dealing with diabetes, dealing with depression, dealing with everything that I was dealing with. And the journalist calls me and says, oh, we believe you've just lost your house. And I said, which house? Because I've got many houses.
Aye.
Which house are you talking about?
Yes.
No, the house you live in. And I said, really, where do you get that information? Oh, no, we've got everything. And then they wrote a headline about it. And, it really affected my family. And I remember remember responding to them and I'm saying, you're stupid. You don't even do your research. Why would you say my house has been sold when I'm actually living in the same house you're talking about? So you didn't do your research. You don't know how many properties I have. Go to your history. Go to my history and find out, oh, she's got a property in Durban. She's got a property where? She's got a property where? And put that information together and say, but she's lost this one. You understand? And you're telling me I've lost everything. You know, so that affected my family, that affected my children, because when they go to school, my son was still at school at the time, high school. And you know, when you go back to school, it really affects you because now your friends are teasing you. Oh, are you guys now living in the streets? And I mean, for a young boy to hear that from friends, it's depressing. And I have to now counsel him and I'm dealing with my wellness.
Listen, you're an OG. Do you recognize that you're an OG?
Hey, yeah, there's something like that.
011-830-702. The WhatsApp line 0727021702. I think sometimes, and I'm not sure if you find this to be the case, I mean, we're busy reading that somebody has passed on. I'll wait for EWN to confirm. That sometimes I see you as an OG because I grew up watching you, then got blessed with the opportunity to work with you. Now can converse you. I know I can call and say, oh, Sophie, give me advice here. You will give me advice. Do you feel that your flowers have not been given accordingly and that we're gonna be crying like nobody's business, you know, touch wood the day you pass on? Do you feel like OGs are truly given the love and respect? Especially when I almost look at what happened with generations and the Generation 16.
Yeah.
You guys built something so
Power.
epic.
Yeah. Epic indeed. I don't think it's about the flowers. I think you have to take control of your own life and create a legacy for your children, for your family. You know?
See how you use that word legacy.
Yes. I got it from somewhere. Oxala is a legacy. It is a legacy, you know? And I think oftentimes the reason sometimes we are such bitter people or sad people is because we are always waiting for Relebogile to tell you that you're great. You're waiting for somebody to tell you that you're great. And I think we need to evolve from that mentality. And really, I tell myself I'm great every day. I give myself affirmations every morning when I wake up. I thank people. Like this morning on my WhatsApp status, I thanked people and I said, I broke my ankle that people would check on me every week without fail. And these are not my besties. These are just people who simply care. And I just said, thank you. Thank you for just being with me. Now I can stand. Now I can do this. Sometimes you just need to be grateful. And because of what you said earlier, that one of our colleagues has probably passed on and we've yet to confirm. But if you look at the past 2 weeks, how many of our colleagues have passed on? Did they really fulfill their purpose on earth? And I think the flower part will come later because I just think if we're not Relebogile, you cannot give me flowers while I'm alive. Why am I even bothered or worried about why you're not doing it? I should focus on the people that truly care and tell me on the daily, on the weekly, on the monthly that you're amazing, you're fabulous, you're beautiful. Even at your worst time, you're beautiful, you know, because you just expect for people to just root for you and just encourage you.
In terms of your children, I know how, and I connected so much with this when you said your children saved your life. And I think it makes more and more sense the older my son gets.
Yeah.
I want to know, how did you mean it? Because sometimes we say, my child was my reason, because at your lowest, possibly in your lowest of depression where you are saying, I have no reason to live, that becomes your only reason.
Yeah.
Or was it an actual life-saving thing? And the reason I'm differentiating is because I also try to be careful when things are rough, that I don't want to put that pressure on my son to be my reason. You know what I mean? So I want you to maybe talk us through that. And there's nothing wrong with your child being your reason.
Yeah.
Seasonally.
Yeah.
But I'm wondering what it meant for you.
It's both. For real. And for the fact that I'm a mother, you know. But let's chat about for real first.
Yes.
That, you know, it really happened. I mean, I had a stroke sitting in the patio after I was going through my depression mode. And I had a stroke sitting on my patio, and it was during COVID, and it was just me and my son in the house. And I just called out his name. I had a stroke on my right side, the entire side. And I called out to him. And as a boy, he was like probably 18, 19 at the time. And he had to carry me into the house, carry me up the stairs, put me in bed. Now, this is COVID. I'm diabetic. So do I go to the hospital? What do? I called a few doctor friends and they told me how, we can do physio at home.
Wait, did you know, though, you were actively having a stroke?
Yes. It was, as in Gomega Makazeti Shincha Magia. You literally.
I love that song, Chencha Magia.
So you literally feel your body changing gears.
Oh.
Literally your mouth, your hand, your fingers, your hip, your ankle, your knee, your thighs, your toes, everything is Shincha Magia simultaneously. It's almost like a movie. It's something of a movie, but you can describe it, but you can't show it because you feel it. And that's how I knew it was a stroke. I mean, my parents had strokes, so I was always their caregiver most of the time. Yes, they had people to help them, but half the time I knew what was happening. So I knew what is the definition of a stroke and what happens when you get a stroke and what you need to do. But at that time, I was too depressed to even think what I must do. And he then carried me and nursed me. Every day, I would put on tights with one hand. And because he's a boy child, without compromising him and making him feel uncomfortable, he would, with his own hands, massage his mother back to life during COVID, where we cannot go to the hospital.
Because of your comorbidities.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And also, who else will do it if he doesn't? So he did that, and we called a few doctor friends that I knew, and we would verify, is it okay to pull like this? And, massage is massage, it's also about your mental health. You need to calm down. You need to slow down. So it's also speaking life to your life. It's a process. And he was there through all of that. So my son, Lwandle, is really, I'm not just talking. I'm not just saying. He was there. And as a mother, when I say my kids are my life, sometimes people fight to get pregnant. And I don't think they even know why they're fighting to get pregnant. Because once you have the children, you're leading your own life, you're doing your own thing, which is what I did as a young mom. And as you grow older, you literally understand having children is even bigger. I'm not saying our kids are all going to save us, but there is a sense of nobody would do what he did. That's a fact.
What do you think you did differently from being a young mom to being a mom now, where you've matured and also your kids are older? Because it's rough in these mom streets being a working mom, especially when your child is small. Because on the one hand, you're like, kabashap. What was different?
When I was younger, I mean, my mother was there, she was alive at the time. So all my kids, I would just dump them. Literally dump them and say, you're going to take care of them for the weekend, and she'd be happy to do it. I wouldn't be happy for my kids to bring me grandkids and same weekend. I'm not a go.
But you did it
like that. I ain't doing that.
But you did it. I love that. I love your honesty in saying
I'm being
that.
honest. I don't want that. I don't want my kids to have kids and then think they're going to dump them on me. No.
But you did it.
But I did it, and I did it effortlessly. I was very excited. My mother was very happy, and I was like, this weekend did and I'm gone. And I was a model, and I was trying to be a superstar. I was building this empire of event management, and children were like, no, not in my space. And I remember my daughter, when she was turning 8 or 9, she said, who's this? And my mother was like, that's your mother. She says, no, get Sophie.
And we laugh about it, but there are many children
so painful,
who were raised by their grandmother being mama, and their moms being like OC. Sophie.
702.
The upside of failure.
Proof that a setback can lead to a step forward.
21 minutes to 3 o'clock, the upside of failure with the phenomenal Sophie Ndaba. Your calls with your questions and comments, 011 8830702, and the WhatsApp line 072 702 1702. We were chatting earlier about children and you being a young mom. No dampa bana nje. Go. Oh, no, but
twice or thrice. It was like it's normal.
Yes.
If you have a child as a young girl, you'd leave your kids with your mom. It's normal. It was normal.
How old were you with the firstborn?
I was 18.
That
So,
is young mom.
That is young mom. So why would I now want to take a crutch? So it was my mother's job. Like, to me, it was normal until
Yes.
later on when my daughter was like, "Do you realize I didn't do 1, 2, 3 because you were not present?" And I was like, "Yeah." I mean, these are things we shouldn't be afraid as mothers to talk about. We shouldn't be afraid to say, you made errors, you made mistakes. How can you teach others, other women, other young women that come after you as to what to do? And now, it's only now I'm like, oh, I wish I could have done this. I wish I could have done that. It's not too late. I'm fixing, but it's a lot to fix. It's a lot to fix.
I was listening to Jane Fonda sharing a very similar story to say that it's only in the later years of her life because she was the career girl, the model.
Yeah.
And when she realized that her and her daughter didn't really have a good relationship because she wasn't there. And then, when she made an active decision and that involved sacrifices, turning down work to be more present. And when they were sitting at a dinner table sharing, what are you most grateful for in life? And her daughter said, I'm most grateful for my mother. And she said, it's never too late to start to build and to start to grow again. But
Absolutely.
18 is a baby.
Yeah.
You were a child.
Absolutely. I mean, my daughter is one of those people who also saved my life. I mean, she's that person that when I had no one during COVID, she's the one who was constantly encouraging me. Yes, a few friends did encourage me. They were there praying for me, taking me to psychologists,
Yes.
just forcing me to do things that I personally didn't want to do. And my daughter played that very integral role as well, a very, very big role. So, and she still does. She doesn't sleep. She doesn't rest. She's always worried about me. And I'm like, why don't you sleep? She said, I'm worried about you. You're on the road at night. And I'm like, darling, do you know my age? For you to be worried about me on the road at night. She says, it's not safe. I wish you could just stay home.
Yes.
And she just worries genuinely. And after we fixed our relationship and she now started calling me mom in her teens.
Oh, man.
It was like the most amazing thing. And she was honest about it. She says, but I don't know you. And I said, yeah, I understand. You know me as a sister was just bringing you nice things.
Yeah.
Bringing you nice things. I mean, Mr. doll. So how could
Oh
we
my
do that
gosh,
how could we enter beauty pageants with kids? It was unallowed. So when I go there, I don't have a child. That's my mother's child. Yes. Straight up.
I never even thought about, and to think
Yeah.
the pageant world only changed those rules. And by the pageant world, I mean pageants will follow what the global pageants are doing. Your Miss, yes. The allowing of children only and married women only started 2 years ago.
Yeah.
2
I
years.
think with Miss SA, etc., they started with, I think, married women.
Yes.
And you don't have to be skinny. Because when I was a judge for Miss SA, we would look for scars. Literally, we would look and say, does she have a scar? I mean, I have scars. I'm a woman.
in the bikini.
Absolutely.
If bloody C-section.
If you had scars, you're disqualified. If you were fat, you're disqualified. If you're a certain size, you're disqualified. I judged it for 3 years, so I know that it was. And I couldn't understand. We are in South Africa. We are in Africa. I mean, I played along because you just love it. But
And you were getting your
it was
bag.
wrong.
Yes.
It was wrong. And when you look at it in retrospect, you're like, no, but I shouldn't have allowed it.
Yes.
I had a voice and I should have used my voice to say no, but then I would have been completely controversial to a brand that's not even mine, to a
Yes.
license I don't hold.
Oh my God.
So,
My mind is so blown because I almost forgot the part of your pageant life.
oh yeah. Oh,
Like
Bommy's
completely.
lovely legs. Bommy's, hey. Yeah, nah.
Miss Lovely. I was entering Little Miss OK.
Oh, dear.
Oh my
Because you're
goodness.
cute. That's why you end up with Miss Little Miss Okay.
Okay. My goodness. My mind is so blown because when you were seeing the things happening around you back in the day,
Yeah.
which includes race, being a woman,
Yeah.
being a curvy girl.
Yeah, and
all
I was
of
a
the-
curvy girl myself.
Yes.
You understand? So I should have fought for them and said, but I'm curvy and I'm a judge. Why am I allowing it? But sometimes you just get caught up in the moment, and only later on when you're kind of relaxed and you start looking at your life, your journey, then you start thinking, but that was wrong. And that's what I thought. I thought that was wrong. And I had a voice to speak and I didn't use it, like I say. So I think it's wonderful that pageants are allowing young women. I mean, pageants are just there to give you confidence. For me, it really boosted
And
who
a
I am.
platform, yes.
Yeah, it boosted who I am. It boosted my confidence. I just knew who I was. And around a lot of girls, I would always show up and show off and know that when I enter a room, they will turn, like me or not.
Yes.
You will turn. And that was my attitude. It doesn't really matter to me because you still look at my brand and follow my brand because you find me intriguing.
Is it that, I do believe you had a voice,
Yeah.
but at the same time, I also don't believe you had a voice in the sense that many people in the industry who've had a voice were made to disappear. So I don't in any way look at you and think, you should have said something because we
Yeah.
know what happened to the people who said something.
Yeah.
I don't know what your thoughts are on that. So I think you had a platform, but I don't think you really had a voice.
Remember, social media wasn't really big then.
Yes.
You understand? I mean, when we left Generation, social media was there. I mean, I looked at when I started getting interested in Instagram because I used to find girls posting and looking fabulous, and I think, but I have more shoes than this girl could have in her lifetime. Why would I post them? I mean, I'm not
Yes.
interested. It's
You
boring.
don't need to prove.
To me, it
Yeah.
didn't make sense. But now I think it's kind of cute.
Yes.
But then I had better things to do with my time then. You know, and when you look at what social media if you had access, if we had the same access to social media then and the voice and the brand value that you carry to speak out, I still feel that people can speak out, should speak out. I speak out for myself now. I don't speak out on other issues because you have to be sure of what you're speaking about.
Yes.
But when we left Generations, I was in the forefront. I was said to be the ringleader of the
How
pack
were you
leading.
the ringleader?
No, come on. Rome was not built by one person.
So you were the one who went in the WhatsApp group. You were admin, group
Yeah.
admin.
Ke nna ba mpusha ba re tsa mo bua le ntate Mfundi. Wena wa go rata. Wena o tla bua le wena. He'll listen to you. And for me, it wasn't even about that. It was like, I have respected this man for so many years, and I think speaking to him, I don't mind if you send me to speak to him, because even if he says to me, I'm disappointed in you, I'm here for it. I think when you need to stand your ground. When you make a decision, you need to be in a position to stand your ground and say, I am standing my ground. This is what I believe. Yes, I've disappointed you. You saw me as a person who would never, ever disappoint you. You gave me one of the greatest opportunities, but
for
here I am
years.
leaving you, in this way. So for me, I was confident. I was not budging. I was confident, and I was like, I'm here for it, and I stand my ground. And till today, I stand my ground. I'm like, what's wrong is wrong, what's right is right.
What is your relationship with Mfundi now?
Oh, it's great. We've built it. We rebuilt it a few years later. Went to his office. He actually pitched the show during Cloudy's time, a Sophie show. Literally
wow.
pushed the whole Sophie show, and it was declined obviously because that's the time Cloudy was leaving. But at the end of the day, that showed a lot. That was leaps and bounds to say he now believes this is somebody I can work with again, and we've fixed our relationship. So for me, that was enough. I didn't need anything else to understand.
Please put your headphones on as we go to the lines. 011 883 0702, the WhatsApp line 072 702 and 702. We've got Risuna. Hi, Risuna.
Hi, good afternoon, Relebogile.
Yes, go ahead.
Hi, Sofla. How are you?
Hello, darling. I'm fine. How are you?
I'm good. It's so good to hear you on radio and telling your story, because I know that it will touch so many people. So just for context, Relebogile, I know Sophie when she was still at Generations. That's when we met. I was at SABC3 at the time. And then we became friends and we kept the relationship. But I just wanted everyone to know, she's got such a big heart. She's a big sister to everybody. She's always there for everyone. When you have something, she will be like, what do you need? So I think people also, because of her character on Generations Queen, the airhead, the blonde, they think that, she's like that in real life, but she's actually a very smart woman, a very smart businesswoman with a big heart and a big sister to everyone.
Oh, man. How
Thanks,
do you feel
Priscilla.
hearing that?
I feel teary-eyed. Yeah, thank you, darling. Thank you, darling. I think it's important. Perception is very big. People have perception about people. Thank you so much, Priscilla.
Risuna, thank you so much for sharing that. And I do agree to the part of you being a big sister, in the sense that I have never, in all the time I've spent with you, seen you treat anybody less than. Irrespective of what their job was, floor manager, cleaning lady, never, not once.
Thank you.
And you really were the queen in the room. Connie would be the quiet one in the corner getting her face done, and you were the queen in the room. And I have to just say, like, love and respect for that. I see your messages coming through on the WhatsApp line 0727021702. When we come back, we continue with the upside of failure. To 3 o'clock, the upside of failure with Sophie Ndaba. And your messages are coming through on the WhatsApp line 072-7021-702. And you can give us a call 011-883-0702. There's a WhatsApp message that says, oh, Relebogile, I just love Sophie. She's such an inspiration. And another one says, I just lost my job. The first thing that I heard when I got to my car, the upside of failure. Instead of crying, I smiled. I'm so happy to hear that. This is really what we want to do with this features, to show that even the most successful and phenomenal of people have those moments that become a stepping stone to something even greater. So I want to say, while it sucks, also congratulations on the next chapter of your life. Here are your voice notes.
Good afternoon, Relebogile. Sophie Ndaba's story is very inspirational. She taught us that nothing is impossible. It is not over until God says so. She's a fighter of note. I wish her all the best. May she continue to fight on. Thank you very much. Peter Maila Machaba from the Tswata.
Releboga Peter. How do you feel? I'm hearing you're a fighter, a survivor.
Yeah, the other day I just asked God, Gary, how bono Gary, it's enough now. Now you gave me a broken ankle, like to stop
I love
me
that.
3 months. Gary,
Khonze.
ke sharp, I think I've seen anything and everything. If this was my purpose to learn so I can teach others, I think I've learned, and I'm surrendering and I'm saying, yes, I've learned and I'm ready to impart. And I think that's the wonderful thing about going.
Yes,
yeah, the fact that anything you can imagine, think I've goished, whether it's finance, whether it's losing work, whether it's losing businesses, losing properties, think about it, I lost it, losing my confidence, losing my mind, not going mad, please, before I went mad, I never went mad, no, but just losing who I really, really, believed I was. And I think, now it's restoration time. I love your show because it speaks to saying, yes, we are from the past, you went through 1, 2, 3, now this is where you are and this is where you're going, and that's a celebration on its own.
Do you want to get married again?
Oh, yeah.
I love it. You love love.
I love love. And I just think love is such a beautiful thing. And, I was telling a friend the other day, Karen, like you feel like, in Genesis when God spoke about, a bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh. It's boring alone, guys. Don't illude yourself into lies and lying to yourself and saying, I'm okay alone. There is no such thing. When people say to you, I'm okay alone, they're lying because they're just afraid to tell the truth. It is lonely to be alone, especially at my age. I'm not talking about any age. The minute you start working and becoming responsible, you need a partner. You're going to impart your dreams, your aspirations, whether you're in your 30s,
Your
40s,
cheerleader.
You need a cheerleader, and sharing that life with someone who honors you and respects you is even better. Somebody that will make sure you're always coming to your safe space when they are there.
We've got one more voice note that's come through.
Okay,
we are coming to the voice note. Oh, Sophie, what have you learned about failure that you want to share with us all? Because I almost feel like your life has gone through all of the seasons, and I feel like you're back on the up of such a new chapter. People are going to see a Sophie they've never seen before.
Yeah. I don't know how many years it took me to build my empire. I call it an empire because it was.
Yeah.
And I lost it in probably a month or two, of just not being myself. And now trying to rebuild it is so hard and so different. It's a different season, a different atmosphere, but however, exciting at the same time because it's a new everything. And I get a second chance to do it better and do it right this time, being a better mother, being a better businesswoman, being accountable for what I do, and imparting to other people who want to start businesses and giving them advice. I mean, I believe I've found my purpose. I've searched for my purpose all my life, and suddenly I found it when I don't have as much as I used to have. But I'm in a better space, mentally, emotionally. I'm sussed out. It's almost like a veil was taken off my face.
And I stand firmly on saying I feel you have more.
Yeah.
Maybe not necessarily in the bank account or
Yeah,
on
yeah.
the asset portfolio list. But I want to give you your flowers, at least from me. You have done so much for us. I can't even begin to say. And growing up watching you, you were our big sister, you were a mom, I can also have an office job. I can also ask for more.
Yeah.
So Relebogile, Sophie, and thank you so much for coming through to 702.
Thank you so much for having me. I just want to say to your listeners, if as women, if you want to heal, follow us at She's a Wonder _Africa. She's a Wonder is something that God gave me when I was still sick and even before, to say women are wonders and we need to share and not be afraid to tell a secret to your friends. So as we close, I know we're no longer in Women's Month, but as women in closing Relebogile, we need to support each other. So She's a Wonder Africa, it's coming on the 19th of October. I just want to see amazing women there sharing and not being afraid to share in a safe space. Thank you so much.
La la.
702.
The upside of failure.
Sometimes failure is the foundation of greatest success stories.